that to take part in this meeting you must have an open mind so that you can take all of the relevant considerations presented to the meeting into account in reaching your decision. By attending today, you have decided that you will listen to all points of view expressed by the speakers and the public and are able to participate and cannot be seen to have predetermined any application. This meeting will be video recorded and will be uploaded to the Council's website. If any members of the public prefer not to be recorded, then please do contact a member of staff. If you are planning on filming or recording this meeting, then please do let us know so we can ensure that you are not filming members of the public who do not want to be filmed. The Chair reserves the right to ask any filming considered intrusive to be stopped or enforced. Has started. However, it's not possible to invite or receive comments from the floor. We want to be inclusive as possible, but will not tolerate any disruptions to our meeting. Should there be any disruption, we do have power under the Council's constitution to remove people from the meeting or continue in private, neither of which we take lightly or wish to do so. Okay, on to item 1 on the agenda is apologies. Laura, have we got any apologies?
Yes, Chair, we have apologies from Councillor Mann and Councillor Dedier.
Thank you very much. Part 2, do any members have any declarations of interest they wish to make? If so, please indicate now, and when called, please state the nature and reason for the interest. You can, of course, declare any interests as they occur in the meeting. Councillor Bicknell.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think this is mainly for transparency rather than anything, but it's to do with planning up agenda item number 7 and the George Curl Way planning application. It's just to state that I make monthly contributions to the air ambulance.
Thank you, Councillor Bicknell. Councillor Irish.
Thank you, Chair. Mine's on agenda item 8 because I'm a personal friend of the applicant.
Thank you, Councillor Irish.
Right.
We now move on to the minutes of the meeting held the 23rd of January 2024. I'd like to get these approved as a true record. Could I have a proposer, please? Cllr Park and a seconder. Councillor Bicknell. Are there any questions or any queries about the minutes? Okay, if you all agree, could I have a vote? Thank you very much. Now on to public participation. So I'd like to invite the first speaker, Mr. Simon Payne, to address the meeting.
Councillors, back in January 2017, this committee allocated up to £30,000 for the prevention of illegal encampments on Parsfield Avenue open space from developers' contributions. I can recall at that time I asked about Chester Avenue, Grantham Green, Lawn Road, and I got told by a member of this committee still that actually they'd never go there. The houses all around, people don't, travellers won't go to those sites. Obviously they have. We all know that now. Obviously, I came to this committee as a member of the public in September 2023 and again in January 2024 to raise about Lawn Road in particular. And I asked if the council were going to take measures. January 2024, I was told that Lawn Road would be included in the tree planting and then assessed again after that. Okay. I'm now here this evening as the chair of Boywood Parish Council to ask that Eastleigh Council actually now look into this as a matter of urgency. Prevention measures were actually first discussed with the local area manager back in September 2023 between our clerk, like that. Apart from the few trees that have been planted, nothing else has happened. The first encampment back in August 23 was 5 caravans. The second in May 2024 was in excess of 6. The day they left, like that, the day after, there's actually a police event on Lawn Road there to do cycle marking. Again, residents were coming up and actually saying to us about, the waste that had been left behind, human excrement and stuff like that being left in the play park area. Obviously then, since then, 4th of July, we then had 17 van encampment come on there. Parish would advise that Paul Naylor would liaise with the local area manager to plan to block off areas where access is gained. 7th of July, the travellers left, and we were informed via an email on the 8th of July that this is now a priority for ELAC. There's been no communication of this statement or that travellers have left, by Eastleigh like that, apart from a post from a councillor on social media. I cannot repeat some of the comments that residents have made. However, I can assure you they're disappointed at the lack of communication and action by EBC. They should not have to put up with these encampments right outside their houses. The noise, the disturbance, they're all getting people banging on their doors asking for water. The amount it would actually cost for deterrent measures has to be weighed now against the cost of lawyers, police, clean-up crews, reputation risk for this council if this is allowed to continue. The location is now known. This will continue until a robust deterrent is installed. The size of the groups, as we can see, are growing. EBC state this is a priority, yet since the 8th of July there's been no communication with the parish or residents to my knowledge. We welcome the news that this is now a priority, but please can there be a clear action plan of what you intend to do and delivery date for the work to be carried out. Please can this be shared with the local residents and the parish council, as I'm sure they would all have valuable input into this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. So, at the time of Passfield Avenue, there had been no incursions onto Lawn Road, and as you said, the Passfield Avenue one cost tens of thousands of pounds. So after one event, it was the first one. Again, it was like we looked at different schemes, and it was cost prohibitive at the time. However, now we've had further incursions, and like you say, it's a well-known site. Like you say, the council has taken prioritising this as an issue and are currently working on designs and costings for a range of prevention methods. These will be installed alongside the new trees that were planted last winter, and I will make sure that once the plan has been decided, that you get confirmation of when and what, etc., so that you can share it with your parish council. Thank you very much. I'd now like to call Kyle Evans, please.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to speak in front of you. My name is Kyle Evans, and I represent YMCA Eastleigh Community Centre as their new manager. I've just been talking with Guy earlier, and he's kind of, what I'm going to talk about is kind of give a bit more information to it, which I really appreciate. While receiving my handover, I was made aware of the council's plans to implement a traffic regulation order on Weldon Way, which is the road that leads into our centre, or plans to. Whilst the YMCA completely endorses the need for this regulation in regards to child safety, we ask some points to be considered in the process as this potentially moves forward. Prior to the opening of the community centre, we were supposed to benefit from additional community shops, and therefore adding extra parking and stuff, which will alleviate a lot of pressure on us. Sadly, this did not materialize, of course, a bunch of reasons, mainly being COVID. The YMCA on any given day can host over 15 staff, 75 people in our hall for meetings or training, 20 people upstairs in our meeting rooms as well, along with general visitors to the cafe, which adds up to hundreds of people daily. Yet our car park only holds 25 spaces. Since the opening of the YMCA some three years ago, we have directly, due to the lack of parking, lost somewhere in the region of £45,000 worth of regular hire business. The only reason we're not losing more is because users who are legally able to park on Weldon Way, and the remainder who cannot see parking spaces on the estate, prevents them from being able to walk down and access our centre. So we reduce our accessibility to our centre, especially to our general hires. And having this order implemented will have potentially devastating effects on our business and our hire, and also people's access to the community centre, which for the community is very important. And some people may have no other choice but to seek other venues should parking be limited any further. We ask if it is, the process is being put forward or so that there's a timeline of it potentially for us to be able to plan in advance. We also recommend that the time limit might be considered in a regulation to mirror the school's drop-off and pick-up times, things such as 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. or 2 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. And this enable children to be dropped off and picked up from school safely, but all help us to safeguard some of our important income as well. Again, thank you for this opportunity to hear our concerns, and I hope you take this into consideration. As I said, I can provide my email or so if you ever want to discuss it further, but yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. And I know as local councillors for that ward, we have received a lot of communications, especially about the school drop-off and pick-up, etc., as well as the YMCA users. So the original planning permission was given on the basis that Highwood were going to provide the YMCA and its parking and a local centre with parking. And it's just really disappointing that they failed to hold up their end of the bargain in providing that local centre with the car parking that would be more than sufficient for the YMCA, the school, and the shops, etc. So, you know, we have put pressure on them to move forward and believe that there might be something coming in the pipeline that will do that. With regards to parking enforcement, it's actually a private road at the moment, and so it's down to Highwood to enforce. Hampshire County Council as the road authority, since they took power back from Eastleigh, where Eastleigh used to be able to do this. They won't enforce on private roads, and they are unlikely to want to do anything until that road's adopted. But they won't adopt that road until the shopping centre's built or whatever is going on that site, unfortunately. So we do feel your pain, and as I say, we've received lots of correspondence on that issue. So we will keep trying to find alternative solutions, and you know, it's very frustrating, to say the least. But thank you for bringing it to the meeting. Now I'd like to invite Bob Everett.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for the chance to speak here again. I'm here to ask questions on behalf of the working group involved in the former Maple Place development on the Samson's Gym site and other residents of the Chamberlain Road cul-de-sac, which is nearby. Usefully, you told us at your January meeting that Council was thinking of selling the site, and of course it was put up for sale shortly after. But the land is still up for sale, so I submitted some questions about what could happen next. Some of those questions have been answered by email today by David Jones, the contractor in charge of the sale, but for the record, those questions were these. Have there been any offers for the site since it was put up for sale? If the answer is yes, how close is the sale to completion, and can you tell us who the buyers are? If the answer is no, will the council consider dropping the £950,000 asking price at some stage if potential developers don't come forward within the next few months? And if and when the site is sold, will the council inform local residents immediately? Mr. Jones told me we would be informed of the sale as soon as possible, but disappointingly he was unable to answer the rest because the information is apparently commercially sensitive. My other questions, though, were beyond his remit, but hopefully not beyond yours. We've always said we would welcome residential development on the site, providing the design fitted in with its surroundings and had adequate parking. So given the need for housing in the borough, can the council commit to continuing to consider the site as one for residential development only? Next, what are the council's intentions regarding the planted area at the end of the cul-de-sac next to the site? It was earmarked for tidying within the build cost of the failed planning application. I think it's a section 106. So will the council be tidying that instead? And finally, something which Cllr Irish is currently trying to help us with in his capacity as a county councillor, will this council use what influence it has to urge Hampshire County Council to prune the hugely overgrown trees in the cul-de-sac, work that we understand was also part of the failed development? We're very concerned about the number of branches already blown down in recent bad weather onto a street where hundreds of children bypass weekly to get to schools and colleges nearby. and what might happen during the storms in winter. Thank you for your patience in listening.
No, thank you for coming. It's always great to hear from members of the public. The way Eastleigh Council works is slightly different from other councils. So as the LAC, the ELAC, we don't own that site. It's owned corporately by Eastleigh Borough Council. So we have not got any say over what happens to that site. We act as the planning committee for that site. So unfortunately, some of your questions you're asking, we can't answer because it would predetermine an outcome that we don't know. So if somebody comes to us and says, right, we want to build a factory on there, we can't say no now because we have to listen to the presentation and all the arguments, etc. And I know that doesn't sound very helpful, but I'm just trying to explain that, you know from previous meetings and correspondence that we've had about our feelings on the site and what we were pushing for to have, etc. And I don't think our minds would have changed on that. Actually, these questions, you might get more answers if you turn up to Cabinet and ask them, because Cabinet are the people that make the decisions on the property, etc. With regards to the planted area, again, I'm not sure if that's ours or whether it's Hampshire County Council's. Councillor Bicknell?
I think it's possible that the planted area is actually Hampshire County Council and not EBC. Along with the GIA areas, or sorry, general improvement areas.
Yeah, I think we'll find out. But I think, again, it's one of those things that it desperately needs doing, and someone needs to fund it. Oh, sorry, Councillor Irish?
As Mr Everett said, the trees are horrendous down there. I did go down and look the other day, and I have reported it to the county, and I'm just trying to chase them up on that. But I could also check now on the planted area as well.
If you could,
and
that'd be
include
great.
that in the whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm happy
that'd
to
be
do
good.
that. Yeah.
That'd be good. Okay, thank you. So we now move on to the Chair's report. So our population of pigeons continues to grow, perhaps due to the mild weather and people continuing to feed them. We've recently reviewed the pigeon spikes and netting on the colonnades, and will be replacing any missing protection in coming weeks. We're also working with the town centre businesses by asking them to join into the project. I've also got something here on the Lawn Road Recreation that was I was going to announce, but I've done that with my response to Mr. Payne. Free Space Skate Park. The new skate park is proving very popular with users, and in a bid to help prevent a reoccurrence of the awful vandalism we saw 2 years ago, we've installed CCTV. This is the first remote site to be linked up to the town centre control room in the borough, so it can now benefit from 24-hour live monitoring. Park Sport, the council's hugely popular Park Sport programme starts this week, and it's great to see the return of the usual skate jam event that will launch on Free Space on the 29th of July. So it'd be great to see as many local amateurs compete alongside incredible demos from pro riders. And the past weekend saw the return of the Mellor, enjoyed by thousands of people. Thank you to the AWCA and Eastleigh Borough Council for organising such a wonderful multicultural event. We've still got plenty more activities coming this summer with a packed programme of events. So make notes in your diaries. The Points Party in the Park with an outside bar and entertainment every Friday and Saturday evening through to the 31st of August. The Urban Beach is back now until the 2nd of September. Ems Mobile Farm will be visiting the precinct on the 26th of July. The Pounds for Pride fundraiser will be held on the afternoon of Wednesday, the 31st of July. Hula hoop performers will be showing you how it's done and asking you to join in on the 2nd of August. Stephen's Fun Fair returns from the 9th to the 17th on Lee Road Rec. And a Dream Empire Events Company late summer festival is on the 31st of August. And of course, the main Pride event will be on the 14th of September. So lots of local things to bring your families to. Okay, we now move on to section 6, the presentation of planning guidelines. Thank you very much. So I'd like to ask Rachel to present the report, please.
Good evening. So this is agenda item 7 for Unit H, George Curl Way, for the creation of headquarters for the Hampshire Isle of Wight Air Ambulance, other healthcare services to include offices, the creation of a helipad, change of use and minor alterations to the existing building, and to form a mixed use comprising of B2, B8, EE, EG, and associated works. So, quick update for the report. Unfortunately, it just got missed due to drafting error that Southampton City Council, in fact, offer no objection to this scheme, and you can see the response on the screen now, just concluding that as the noise impact assessment now includes the Southampton administrative boundary, and that concludes that there's no observed adverse effect, that they raised no objection. So this is the site location plan with the site outlined in red. To the east of the site is Southampton Airport runway. These are the existing plans where the south and north have no change. And again, existing plans here showing west and east. With the east, we'll show a change on the next slide. As you can see here, a slight change, mostly just on hangar doors and other doors, but only minor in reality. So here is the site plan. Again, just kind of showing the fence changes and the location of the helipad in reference to the main unit. Here are some site pictures. Pictures 1 and 2 just show the east elevation where all physical alterations are occurring. 3 is that same view just from further out of the site, and 4 shows an existing car park which is included in the red line at the moment. So as I say, there are some physical changes to the unit. These are included on the screen, most notably loading doors, existing gates to be moved, the H being painted on for the helipad, and some lighting. So the main point really to consider here this evening would be the proposed use and that associated noise with the helicopter. So Hampshire Isle of Wight Air Ambulance fly a helicopter model called Airbus EC135T3, of which has a low acoustic footprint and is claimed to be one of the quietest aircraft of its type. They have no intention of changing this aircraft at present, but if they did, this would require written consent through a condition. Backup helicopters are also included in this condition, which is included there on the screen, the type. But these do actually have a similar noise output, which has been demonstrated through the noise impact assessment. There's no flight path per se for a helicopter, so the helicopter can fly over residential properties through various routes throughout the day and night, but it's predicted to have an approximate sound pressure level of 63 decibels at a cruising height of 450 meters, and so it's not expected to cause significant detriment, especially due to the time frame of only a few seconds. And especially worth note as well is that during the day, with the airport operating, this would be a noisier experience. Here is just some examples worthy of note, having decibel readings on some typical things you might hear, just to sort of show a comparison. So here's worthy of note is decibel 70 to 100, which ranges between inside a factory and a burglar alarm heard from 1 meter away. For the helicopter, the most noisy events are in the noise impact assessment as engine on and takeoff, but are only meant to kind of last for 10 minutes. That's then followed by landing, maintenance, and fueling as the most noisy uses. Some more just comparisons here for the locality of the site, being commercial flights and trains. Obviously here is noted the M25. We have obviously the M27, not the M25, but again, it's just a point of reference for different noise levels. This is the nighttime noise grid, which again is in the noise impact assessment, which shows the dark purple in the centre being the area that would experience most noise, and then as it dissipates out to green areas being the quietest. So that just kind of shows what level might be expected, and obviously most of those units close by are commercial. So generally, there's a great planning community benefit that weighs in favour of this permission. It would accord with local plan policy, suitable for an existing employment site for its character, ecological matters, noise and access. There are multiple conditions recommended in the report to consider further necessary information, and overall the recommendation is to permit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've got some members of the public who have registered to speak on this item. So I'd like to invite. We've got a written statement from Dr. Gordon Walker. Is Guy going to read that? Yeah. Thank you.
This is a message from Dr. Gordon Walker. I've worked my entire working life at the western end of the Isle of Wight, and during this 35 years, I've constantly been aware that a regional trauma and cardiac centre is at least 2 hours away by road and ferry. If the planning for the new centre at Southampton Airport is unsuccessful, could you please tell me what provisions for my patients may be available so that I can enlighten them? Many thanks.
Thank you, Guy. I'd now like to invite Alice Drew, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Councillors. My name is Alice Drew and I'm a planning consultant at Southern Planning Practice. I'm here this evening on behalf of the applicant, the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Air Ambulance, who are also here tonight in attendance. And I would like to take this opportunity to fully support the officer's recommendation for approval. As you are aware, the proposals seek to create a new headquarters for the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Air Ambulance in a central location within their area of service. Most missions attended by the air ambulance crew, whether by air or by road, are in the south of the county. However, the existing airbase is in Thruxton, which is in the far northwest of Hampshire. The charity needs to be located close to the main urban areas of Hampshire and the Isle of Wight to reach patients faster and save more lives. The headquarters' new location will put almost all of Hampshire and the island within 10 minutes flight time, while the improved connectivity to the major road network will reduce road response times. The site is located adjacent to Southampton Airport and comprises an existing commercial building which will only require very minor alterations to make it fit for purpose for the charity, as you saw on the plans. The proposals seek to safeguard an existing employment site which is supported by policy DM15 of your local plan. The proposals utilise an existing sustainable and suitable access of George Cllr Way. Given the small scale of the proposed development, a very small amount of additional traffic will be generated and can be safely accommodated in the local highway network. Hampshire Highways have confirmed this. With regard to concerns relating to noise impact, I'd like to highlight that the noise impact assessment confirms that there will be no adverse impact on neighbouring or nearby residential properties. The Environmental Health Officer has confirmed no objection to the proposals. The proposals have been designed to incorporate a biodiversity net gain of significantly more than 10% of the mandatory requirement. Throughout the preparation and consideration of the application, the applicant has worked closely with the Council to propose a scheme which does not result in any adverse harm to the amenity of nearby residents or the local highway network, and also provides significant biodiversity enhancements. Therefore, the proposals fulfil the policy requirements of all of the relevant policies of your local plan. The proposals will provide a vital public service in an accessible location which would enable the air ambulance to continue providing emergency medical care and life-saving treatment. The relocation of the critical life-saving charity is a substantial public benefit. I hope you will support your officer's recommendation and approve the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any questions, or do you do those? No. Perfect.
I'd now like to call Gaz Richardson on behalf of Eastleigh Town Council.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Councillors. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Although I'm familiar to all of you, for the public record, my name is Councillor Gaz Richardson. I'm the Chair of Eastleigh Town Council. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Town Council regarding this planning application. So on the 9th of May 2024, the Planning and Highways Committee convened to discuss this application with myself as Chair of the meeting. After thoroughly reviewing the proposals, the committee unanimously decided to support the application and raise no objections. The air ambulance offers a vital service that is crucial in saving lives, ensuring rapid medical assistance reaches those in critical need, often making the difference between life and death in emergency situations where every second counts. The Town Council believes that relocating the air ambulance closer to the areas of highest need will significantly reduce emergency response times. We observed overwhelming public support for this application, with several hundred comments in favour and very few objections. We acknowledged potential concerns regarding noise and emissions from the helicopter, and these were thoroughly debated. Ultimately, though, the committee determined that the benefits of the service greatly outweigh these concerns. It was clear to the committee that the air ambulance has a strong record of operating efficiently and respectfully within local communities. They are genuinely committed to minimising potential disruption and ensuring their operations remain as unobtrusive as possible. Therefore, it is the opinion of Eastleigh Town Council that planning permission should be granted for this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I'd like to call Sally Goodfellow.
Thank you, Chair and Councillors. Just to make it clear, I wear two hats. So I'm actually a councillor at Southampton City Council, but I also work in Southampton's emergency department in the NHS. So I'm kind of wearing that hat as I speak. I won't waffle on with what everybody else has already said, and I'm just reinforcing what I already said in my comments that I put on the planning website. I've spoken to a couple of the consultants that I work with that are also HEMS crew as well, that go out, and I asked them were they excited about the move and everything, and they basically said to me it literally takes 20 to 25 minutes from Thruxton to come back down, and also for restocking. I mean, doing 13-hour shifts in A&E, we can sometimes see the air ambulance twice, 3 times, so having to go back all the way to Thruxton, restock, clean the ambulance, the air ambulances, and then come back. Being based in Eastleigh will be so much quicker from the helipad at Southampton General to Eastleigh. So yeah, I just wanted to come tonight just to sort of from an NHS worker's point of view, and I see how hard the HEMS crews work when they come in. So yeah, make their life a little bit easier. Also for the Isle of Wight, they do a lot of transfers from hospital to hospital as well. It's not just the emergencies. And I think, yeah, just having the air ambulance near 2 major cities, Southampton and Portsmouth, as well as the Isle of Wight, it makes sense really. So I hope councillors can support the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll now open it up to councillors for questions. Are there any questions, councillors? Councillor Bicknell.
Thank you, Chair. I've got a couple of questions. The first one relates to condition 10, which is actually on page 11 of the report. And this is around the helicopter being used on site. It says the helicopter operated from the site shall be restricted to 1 Airbus, blah, 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 and that. So in any event, only 1 helicopter shall be operational from the site at any one time. And then it lists the other 2 types of helicopters. So is this actually going to restrict, or could it restrict operations from the air ambulance by actually being quite specific on what they can and cannot use?
That's not the aim. These particular helicopters were provided to us in the noise impact assessment as viable backups and as their chosen helicopter type. We are obviously mindful that helicopters create noise, and we are happy with the noise that these specific types create, and so we do have to be careful on what we allow in this site. There are obviously residential properties relatively close by, so we don't envisage this will hinder the air ambulance, as this is helicopter types that they have said they're happy to use.
Thank you. Again, in paragraph 38, it goes on to about the actual model of helicopter, and it does state that there's no intention of changing the aircraft soon. And then, obviously, paragraph 38 goes on, the helicopter model will be conditioned. And then, obviously, further on, I think, in paragraph 60, it also says about conditions. My overall concern is that with the conditions, the market changes, helicopters change, and I would not want to condition heavily so that the air ambulance is then potentially restricted from a future model of a helicopter. Something else comes on the market, because also being a charity, they have to weigh up what will actually provide the service and meet their needs versus cost. So I'm just a little bit concerned on the conditions. Whilst these helicopters have a small noise footprint, if that's the right word when you're talking about noise, to me is largely irrelevant. given actually what they do. So I'm just concerned about these conditions mentioned in, as I say, as a condition in paragraph 10, again in paragraph, what was it, I said 38, and then again in paragraph 60.
Although it's mentioned a few times in the report, there is only one condition that restricts it, and that it does state that we would just require written consent, so we would expect a variation of condition to come forward in the event that that helicopter is to be changed. I have been told there is no close future plans to do that, and obviously I assume that if once they were to change helicopters, they would know they were going to do that well in advance. A variation of condition application is not overly expensive, but we do feel we need to limit the helicopter type. Like I say, there are residential properties nearby that, although they do offer life-saving support, if that was to be next to your house, kind of very frequently all the time, we would want to make sure that the decibels are of an appropriate level. And as I've said, those helicopter types we're comfortable with, but we would want to check the level of noise for any future helicopter.
Just to stop them getting a Chinook. Councillor Reynolds.
It's probably a silly question, really, but thinking about what the lady said about storage, would there be storage facilities for some of the items that the air ambulance need, rather than getting them from A&E? Would there be storage facilities included on the site? And the other point, something in the report, I can't find it now, about leakage, possible, although that's been dispelled. So I thought, how do they get their fuel? Is it provided by the airport? Do they have storage of fuel on the helicopter site?
Regarding storage, it's a relatively large unit that does include the use that we've agreed as B8 and B2, so that would include storage capacity. With fuel, I have to say I'm not sure about that answer. I'm just looking to the applicant because they might know the answer for you.
Good evening, I'm Richard Corbett, I'm the Chief Executive of the Air Ambulance. In terms of fuel, the plan at the moment is we'd get our fuel from Southampton Airport and we would have a mobile bowser, which we do currently at Thruxton, which would be refuelled via the airport. Obviously, we are working through with the Civil Aviation Authority in Southampton around the operational side of what would be delivered, but at the moment, that's the working assumption.
Okay, thank you. I was just thinking about the safety element. Thank you.
Any more questions? So I've got one. If permission's granted and the project falls through, will this allow somebody with a private helicopter to operate from the site if they've got a helicopter that meets the conditions? Because they could take off and land every minute of the day if they wanted to.
Well, the description of the application does specify headquarters for Hampshire Isle of Wight Air Ambulance, and so we would anticipate that that would kind of fall into restricting the capacity of future occupation.
Yeah, it's just that we've seen in the town centre somebody's got planning permission, then they've sold the building and it's still got the planning permission, but that's fine. Councillor Irish.
Chair, surely the easiest way would be to make it a personal sort of permission.
I think that's what we've just...
Personal permission, and they...
Yeah, I think that's what...
Someone else comes, you can't change it.
That's what they've just
said. That's what you were saying,
yeah.
Just different sort of ways of making, was it? Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, could I have a proposer, please? Cllr Park, and a seconder, Cllr Irish. Okay, is there any debate? Cllr Park.
Thank you. I welcome this application. It's not often as a committee that we can make a decision that can actually save lives, and I think this would actually do this in a quite dramatic way. If, like they say, that the response times from Thruxton is 25 minutes to get to the south of the county, and that's where most of the accidents and need is. Those minutes are vital for anything that's going to be calling out an air ambulance, so I fully support this.
Councillor Irish.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is a very exciting application. It's very good for Eastleigh, and it's absolutely in the right place. I mean, you know, you couldn't get a better place to put it. It's just there by the airport, and it's fairly a good location for the whole of the county and surrounding areas. So yeah, it's a really good application, and I'm very pleased to support it. Thank you.
Councillor Bicknell.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I echo both Cllr Park and Cllr Irish's comments, especially Cllr Park. It is very unusual that as a planning committee, like this is probably the first one ever, where actually you make a decision that will literally affect people's lives. And this is obviously going to affect people's lives for the better and be positive. Just being 10 minutes away from the major hubs and the excellent road networks, you know, it is a bit of a no-brainer. I don't really have much of a concern about the noise that it creates. It's buffered by the M27, so you've got a great big bank and a motorway between their location and any houses in Southampton, and they're actually a reasonable distance away because then you've got the retail units the other side of the M27. The houses in Eastleigh again are buffered by the other the post office, Mercedes and the other places there. So I really don't have any concern about the noise. And actually, if I needed the air ambulance, again, I wouldn't really care about the noise. Or if my wife needed, I wouldn't worry if somebody was woken up in the middle of the night and it saved somebody's life. So I'm pleased that Southampton City Council withdrew their objection. It's good to be able to support it. And actually, like most people, when it comes over Eastleigh, everyone looks at the air ambulance. And everyone goes out and sees if it happens to land anywhere near them. So yeah, it's great to be able to actually support this, and I welcome it. So thank you very much, Chair.
Councillor Reynolds.
Yeah, listening to my colleagues here, I'd agree with everything that they've said. I've actually heard the air ambulance take off from Southampton General, and it is noisy for the first 10 minutes, but I think you balance that with everything else. The fact there's going to be a biodiversity net gain, so, you know, we're talking, it falls in with the local plan, the local ecology management plan as well. So, yeah, environmentally, it's great. Socially, it's great because it's going to help the community, it's going to help people, and economically as well. So I'm all for it. I support it.
Okay, I think in addition to the net biodiversity, I think the fact that the air ambulance gets to its major need without having to come all the way from Thruxton will mean that they'll use less fuel. It'll also mean as well that sometimes it will be quicker to dispense the cars because they're right on the doorstep as well. So yeah, I do think that it's a great thing to do. Okay, any more debate? No, then we should move on to the vote. All those in favour? Excellent. That has passed unanimously. Thank you very much, councillors. We now move on to item number 8, the planning application for 3 Newtown Road. Yeah, so I've taken some advice. You can stay, as you won't gain financially from this, and it's also a application that has already previously been submitted and approved by this committee. It's just lapsed and therefore has to come back again. So it's okay.
Yeah, so agenda item 8 for 3 Newtown Road in Eastleigh, which is for a single-storey side rear extension. And as Cllr Bourne has just said, this scheme was previously submitted and permitted in 2021. The permission has since lapsed in April, and so it's just back here again today. This is the site location plan in red, Newtown Road to the east and Western Road to the north. Existing plans here showing the rear elevation, the two side elevations, and the floor plan. This shows the proposal, which has as you can see, the rear elevation with the single-storey extension, which infills that side gap there at the back, which is why it's referred to as a side/rear extension. But yeah, that's the elevations, and as you can see there, the floor plan too. These are the site pictures, with picture 1 showing the rear elevation, 2 shows the rear garden, amenity space, 3 shows the neighbour to the north with their extension, and also the neighbour to the south with their extension in picture 4. So the single-storey rear extension is modest. In keeping with the locality, it is considered to accord with Quality Places SPD. Overall, it's considered to also accord with Policy DM1 from the local plan, and has a suitable character appearance. And the recommendation is to permit, subject to the conditions in the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from councillors? Nope. Could I have a proposer, please? Cllr Park, and a seconder, Cllr Bicknell. Any debate? Nope. That's good. I can't believe this was 3 years ago, because I vividly remember this. So I put down that it fits in with all the plans, and the vital thing is the neighbours have not objected, and that's who it affect most. So there's nothing on that. So should be nice and straightforward. Although I've said that before. So all those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, that's duly carried. Thank you very much. Next, we have the planning appeals, and can I ask that we note the appeals? Duly noted. Now we're on to the financial management report. I'd like to ask Guy to introduce the report, please. Thank you, Guy. Any questions? Councillor Bicknell.
Thank you, Chair. I've got 2 questions. Number 6, 24,000 for the North Stoneham traffic regulation orders. My question is who's doing the work on that? Is it going to be EBC or Hampshire County Council, now that they've actually taken over all on-street parking, etc., etc.? And I've got a second question, which is number 7, £2,500 for a gate. I know it's a bespoke gate, but £2,500 for a metal gate sounds a heck of a lot of money.
Right, the TRO want that. The money you would be allocating for this allows us to passport that money over to the county council, who would then be the body who implements the TRO. We don't do those anymore, so it would have to be the county council, probably in 2 stages. Highwood Avenue possibly might well arrive sooner. Clearly there's some debate about whether it's suitable for adoption, but as soon as it's adopted, then the county have undertaken to progress the TRO very quickly in order to release the road for the bus service. So that is the situation with that one. Wealdon Way is likely to take longer because obviously there's a little bit of uncertainty around what's going on with the rest of the local centre, and Highwood would have to release that for adoption. It's probably unlikely, although I could be wrong, that they're going to release it for adoption if they've got major construction traffic going over the top of it. So they would want to probably resolve the unfinished section of the local centre before you see the adoption of that. So this is really just enabling those funds to be released as soon as, just to make sure that they're allocated and we don't use it for other purposes and they're freed up for future. The gate, yes, I did question that. I did ask that to be requoted. That is the price of our sprung safety gates that we have, that we use for play areas. It's just a standard gate, I'm afraid. It's not even a bespoke one. So that's the cost of installation, our engineers' fees, and the price of the product itself.
Councillor Bicknell.
Thank you, Chair. Can I come back with, well, I was saying I'm going to come back with a supplementary on number 6. Thank you for answering that and clarifying that it's going to be Hampshire County Council that actually will be doing the work on the TRO. This will be the first TRO that ELAC would have had under Hampshire County Council. I know they're a law unto themselves. Is it possible that we could ask them what the process will be, especially when it comes to the consultation element of the TRO, which we're all very familiar with how Eastleigh used to do it. It used to be open, transparent, and we used to include the public. It'd be nice if we were reassured if Hampshire would do the same, especially given, you know, there will be some residents that will have some questions on the TRO and that. So is there any way we can ask them, either through yourself, Guy, or through the chair, or getting Callie to find out what the process will be and how they will actually go about implementing this TRO?
Yeah, happy to do that. We'll certainly go back and ask them. Obviously, there's a statutory 28 days in the public advert that's required through, I think, still through a printed medium. So that element is the minimum. I think what you're asking about is what's going to happen over and above that. So yeah, we'll happily go back and ask that.
Thank you, Guy, because that's what worries me, the minimum, because the printed media is a printed media that, one, them is never heard of, 2, doesn't know how to get, and 3, doesn't read. Obviously EBC used to go above and beyond to actually get these things right. And can I just request that question, that element is actually in the minutes, please, about asking Hampshire County Council, you know, somebody contacting Hampshire and asking what the process will be, please. And £2,500 for a gate. Can't we get some quotes from somebody else rather than just our contractor?
Councillor Irish.
Again, on item 6, it says there that these 2 roads are shortly going to be adopted by the County Council. Have you got any idea how short that period is? Because we still haven't adopted Cllr Park yet, and this is before this one. So I'm rather concerned that it's going to be some time before these roads are adopted.
I thought you were on the case for Cllr Park.
Yeah, but I was perhaps being a little bit ambitious in using shortly. It's a relative term, isn't it? We write on a monthly basis for an update on the Highwood Avenue one in particular, because that's the one of most concern. Blue Star are particularly keen to get the service across to the new road. Champing at the bit, they have increased the frequency on their existing service and would like to make use of developers' contributions to help support that. But so there's definitely a lot of drivers pushing that, and I think it's just down to the debate between Highwood and the county highways team as to what improvements are required in order to get to an adoptable standard. So I don't know how long that is going to take, and I can't really give you a guess at this stage.
Perhaps our county councillor could push them as well, so they get 2 pushes.
Your county councillor is pushing it, actually. But, it's quite right, as Guy said. You contact them on a monthly basis. I do the same thing with Cllr Park, and I'm doing it now with Stoneham. And I think that's all you can do, really, is just do it regularly, because they tend to forget, you see. So they need to be reminded. So if you could keep that up, Guy, a monthly thing as well, and I should do the same. And hopefully between us, we'll get there.
Councillor Bicknell.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Yeah, just you mentioned about the bus and Blue Star. Can I just have clarity or confirmation that we won't actually lose any of the developers' contributions for the funding of that service, i.e. it's not been into because Hampshire are not adopting the road. You know, we funded it for 3 years, I take it, and that will start when Blue Star actually start running down Highwood Avenue.
My understanding, yes, I think we're holding that funds. We're not. We're keeping that allocated for that purpose. It's set out in Section 106, so you know there's a degree of control over its use. It's important also to remember that Blue Star are looking to maintain the service beyond the 3 years funded. So in essence, you're looking at 5 years of commitment to deliver that service. So fingers crossed, it can all be delivered relatively soon.
Okay, could I have a proposer, please? Councillor Park, and a seconder, Cllr Irish. Any debate on this report? No, then if we could vote, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. That concludes the meeting. The next meeting will be held on Tuesday, the 3rd of September at 7 p.m. at the Point. Thank you very much and good evening.